If you watch a stranger inflict pain on a defenseless animal, your brain does not process that action as a simple difference in taste. You don't think to yourself, I prefer kindness, but they prefer cruelty. You register the act as an active violation of a boundary. You treat the wrongness of the act as an objective reality. In philosophy, this universal human intuition forms the basis of a metaethical theory called cognitivism. Cognitivism claims that our moral judgments describe actual facts about the world, and because they describe facts, those judgments can be proven literally true or false. We tend to view the arc of history through this exact lens. When we look at global shifts, like the worldwide abolition of slavery, we don't characterize that shift as a mere change in cultural fashion. We view it as humanity uncovering a better moral truth, finally seeing an ethical reality that was always there. This feeling is reinforced by the way entirely isolated, complex societies consistently arrive at the exact same foundational rules. Across different continents and centuries, human cultures independently develop structures built on fairness, reciprocity, and the protection of kin. Because of that shared structure and a history of ethical progress, morality feels like an undeniable law imposed on us from the outside. We experience goodness and badness as features of the universe that we discover, rather than concepts we simply invented. To understand why we experience morality this way, we have to look at a psychological concept known as the direction of fit, which describes how the human mind aligns itself with reality. Look at this animated diagram representing the mind-to-world direction of fit. When a scientist runs an experiment, or a bouncer checks a guest list, the goal is to make the internal mind accurately reflect the external environment. If you think the room is empty, but you open the door and see a crowd, you rewrite your internal list to match the immovable physical reality of the world. As the animation now shows, cognitivism assumes we treat morality exactly the same way. We populate the external world with concepts like justice, or the fact that cruelty is wrong, and we desperately try to align our minds with those objective moral data points. But this framework relies on a rather glaring metaethical paradox. If these moral facts are real, objective features of the universe, where exactly are they located? We built our entire intuitive understanding of ethics on the assumption that moral facts exist independently of us. If we cannot prove where they are or how to measure them, we are navigating reality using a map full of invisible data. Put the physical universe under a microscope, and you will find biology, chemistry, and physics. You can locate a proton, measure an electrical charge, and map a genome. But no matter how closely you dissect reality, you will never find a physical particle of badness. The 20th century philosopher J.L. Mackie attacked this problem by highlighting what he called the queerness of morality. Mackie argued that if objective moral values actually existed, they would have to be entities utterly different from absolutely anything else in the known universe. And the problem extends to our biology. Humans lack any sensory organ capable of interacting with a moral fact. We have retinas to detect light and cochleas to detect sound, but we have no physical instrument capable of seeing, smelling, or measuring objective goodness.
A moral fact cannot be empirically verified. It cannot be physically located. Continuing to treat ethics as a measurable feature of objective reality defies all the rules of scientific logic. This image illustrates the staggering variation in human moral codes across the globe. Throughout history, different societies have constructed wildly conflicting rules regarding marriage, property, and human rights. This widespread disagreement provides powerful evidence against the existence of a single, undeniable moral truth. This leads to cultural relativism, the theory that people don't discover objective facts at all. Instead, we approve of specific behaviors strictly because we participate in a specific cultural way of life. The culture dictates the morality, not the universe. That brings us to the philosopher pictured here, A.J. Ayer, who championed a radical alternative known as non-cognitivism, specifically a branch called emotivism. Ayer argued that moral statements are not facts, and therefore they can never be true or false. According to non-cognitivism, stating murder is wrong does not describe a fact about reality. It merely expresses a negative emotion. Saying stealing is bad carries the exact same logical weight as yelling, "Boo, stealing." You aren't stating a reality, you are just evincing a feeling. Under the non-cognitivist view, morality isn't a map of the universe we are trying to read. It is simply an emotional language we use to yell at each other. We can visualize exactly how that emotional language operates using this animated diagram, which represents the world-to-mind direction of fit. In this framework, the goal is not to absorb facts from the outside. The goal is to project your internal desires outward and force reality to match them. As the diagram shifts, you can see that emitted force taking the shape of moral language. We use words like good and evil as tools. We apply them to actively shape the behavior of other people, molding a formless society into a system that aligns with what we want. But this leaves us with a massive psychological question. If morality is nothing but an emotional tool for behavioral control, why does it feel so undeniably objective and real to the person experiencing it? The 18th century philosopher David Hume answered this by describing a cognitive illusion known as the pathetic fallacy. Hume observed that the human mind has a relentless propensity to spread its own internal feelings onto external objects. We project our psychological needs onto the world so forcefully that we hallucinate them as objective facts. We experience a profound cultural disgust toward an action, and we mistake that internal disgust for a physical property of the universe. The ontological truth remains clear. A microscopic analysis of the universe will never reveal good or evil woven into its atomic structure. Admitting that morality is a psychological projection does not make ethics weak, meaningless, or optional. Morality is a vital evolutionary and cultural survival tool. We cooperatively built this world-to-mind mechanism to maintain functional societies. We enforce these rules because a world with fairness and reciprocity is the only kind of world we can survive in. The absence of objective moral facts doesn't destroy morality. It simply means the ultimate responsibility for creating a good world rests entirely on us, not the universe.